facts don't stop. Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. Canadian Parliament maintains a record of debates in both English and French known as Hansard. During a Liberal filibuster in the Senate of Canada, Senator Philippe Higante was accused of reading one of his books only so that he could get the translation for free through the Hansard. In 1977, the city of Florence, Oregon accidentally banned having relations. Weather forecasters tend to exaggerate the chance of rain because if it rains when they said it wouldn't, people get angry, but if it doesn't rain when they said that it would, people are happy. This is known as wet bias. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak are the creators of Breakout, the iconic arcade game from the 1970s. They built it as a single-player evolution of Pong. In 2004, the average TV screen size was 25.4 inches, and the average selling price was $552. That compared to 2019, where the average screen size had increased to 47 inches, while the average selling price had dropped to just $336. Starting in 2001, Del Glover became the world's leading leaker of pre-release music. He worked at a Universal CD pressing plant and was a member of a file-sharing group called Rabid Neurosis. Over an 11-year period, Rabid Neurosis was responsible for leaking over 20,000 albums. In 1807, Aaron Burr attempted to lead a secessionist movement in the United States. Though his aims were unclear, with speculation ranging from conquering Mexico to taking the Louisiana Purchase, he was charged and ultimately acquitted due to lack of specific evidence of his ultimate goal. To reduce cleaning costs, Amsterdam Airport printed pictures of flies inside urinals, thinking men would aim at the flies while using the bathroom, reducing the amount of urine landing outside the urinals. And their plan worked. While MTV has filmed over 101 unplugged performances, fewer than 30 of them have been released as albums. The golden rule of treating others the way that you want to be treated exists among emotionally intelligent primates, like chimps and bonobos. The brand Rolex doesn't actually mean anything, but rather is a completely made-up word that the founder thought is easily pronounced in any language. Lei Tai is an ancient Chinese form of gladiatorial combat/entertainment, where a local champion fighter builds a stage in his town square and invites anyone to knock him off the stage using an unarmed martial art. The winner then gets to own the stage and issues a similar challenge as well. Bill Nye quit his job at Boeing to be a stand-up comic after winning a Steve Martin lookalike contest in 1978. Originally, Celsius degrees were meant to be reversed, with water boiling at 0 degrees and freezing at 100. Larry Bird once played a game mostly with his left hand because he wanted to save his right hand for the next game against the Lakers. Winston Churchill would attend Shakespeare plays and recite the lines along with the actors from the front row. Richard Burton, playing Hamlet at the Old Vic Theatre, tried to shake Churchill by changing the speed of his delivery, but Churchill stayed with him the whole way. Unborn baby tawny sharks swim between their mother's 2 uteri looking for unfertilized eggs to eat. Children born in the early to mid 1980s are called the DuckTales generation in Hungary because their first encounter with politics happened in 1993. This was when a DuckTales episode that they've been waiting for all week was cut short due to the announcement of the death of the Prime Minister. The little hook at the end of a tape measure is kept intentionally loose so that when you push it up to a wall, it slides the lip over and accounts for the thickness of the lip on the tape. Active listening is listening with the intent to understand the other person fully rather than listening to respond. However, it was criticized by John Gottman's The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work as being of limited usefulness. A skydiver once had a seizure while 9,000 feet in the air and was saved by his instructor pulling his ripcord. The rivalry between the neighboring cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul were once so strong that during the 1890 US Census, each city began arresting or kidnapping the other census takers in order to curb their rivals' population. Catsup is one of the earlier variations of the word that eventually evolved into ketchup. While ketchup now specifically refers to tomato sauce, catsup originally described a wider variety of sauces, not necessarily tomato-based. 5 parrots at the Lincolnshire Wildlife Park in Friskney have been removed from public display after they started swearing at visitors.
Wrap these nuts, wrap!
King Ranch, the largest ranch in the US, is larger than both Rhode Island and Luxembourg. Andre Serrano once faced extreme controversy for his work Immersion Piss Christ from 1987, where he shows a crucifix of Jesus dunked in urine. However, in 2023, Pope Francis actually blessed Serrano and gave him a thumbs up gesture of approval. The term ass clown is credited to be from the movie Office Space. Have you seen my stapler? Okay, but I'm gonna burn the building down. In 1945, 2 years before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, the Boston Red Sox held a sham tryout for him and other black players. Red Sox management actually shouted racial slurs from the stands and humiliated the players. The Red Sox would eventually be the last MLB team to racially integrate. In 1963, the San Diego Chargers were required to take anabolic steroids 3 times per day during training camp. Perhaps unsurprisingly, they led the league in nearly every offensive and defensive category and won the AFL championship 51-10. In 2023, a 45-year-old Belgian man named David Barton faked his own death but then showed up to his own funeral to teach his family a life lesson. He was reportedly dismayed that the family had grown apart. Boeing offered to install solid rockets on their early 727-200 airliners back in the 1960s and 70s. These were for emergency thrust in the event of an engine failure during takeoff at high altitude airports. Only 12 727s ever had them, all with Mexicana Airlines for use at Mexico City. None of the people who were filmed or photographed falling from the Twin Towers on 9/11 ever have been officially identified. The collapse of the towers before their remains were removed from the scene made it impossible to identify them through DNA analysis. A 20-year-old Belgian man died from eating 5-day-old pasta due to it being contaminated with Bacillus cereus. A&E star Billy the Exterminator joined the Air Force at age 19, intent on a career in law enforcement. However, his military entrance examination indicated that he had an aptitude for biology, which led to his extermination career at an airbase. There was a girls' dance camp nearby when the Atomic Trinity test occurred. The girls played in the falling white ash. 10 of the 12 girls died before the age of 40. The USA has 4 of the world's top 5 air forces. Each branch of the military individually ranks in the global top 5. Not only does Elmo the puppet have a father, but he's also a soldier who served in Iraq. Elmo knows! 287 years is the longest a library book was overdue. While writing a biography on Colonel Robert Walpole in 1956, Professor John Plum returned a history book to the Sydney Sussex College in Cambridge after Walpole had checked it out around the year 1667. When Chi Chi, a giant panda at the London Zoo, was taken to Moscow to breed with a male giant panda, she refused his attempts to mate with her and made a full sexual self-presentation to a zookeeper. Panda, 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 panda. Singer Dionne Warwick, upset with misogyny in rap lyrics, once set up a meeting with Snoop Dogg and Suge Knight at her home, where she demanded that they call her bitch to her face. Snoop Dogg later said, "I believe that we got out-gangstered that day." Germany had secret plans to invade Boston and New York City prior to World War I. It would have required 60 warships and 100,000 soldiers. German troops were to land at Cape Cod and Sandy Hook, New Jersey, and fire shells into Boston and Manhattan in an effort to induce panic among civilians. Harambe was 17 years old and had not even reached breeding maturity when he was shot. The inventor of the Keurig coffee pod system, John Sylvan, sold his ownership of the product for $50,000 in 1997. In 1996, a gorilla carried a 3-year-old boy to safety after he fell into an enclosure. One of the founding fathers of America, Benjamin Franklin, wrote an essay about farts. Batman was created almost at the same time as the Black Bat, a pulp fiction hero so similar that the publishers considered suing each other. They eventually found an agreement. The Black Bat wouldn't appear in comics, and in exchange, Batman wouldn't appear in pulp magazines. I think we all know who got the better side of that deal. The Statue of Liberty's copper sheeting is only 3/32 of an inch thick, about 2 pennies together. The largest known prime number is You know what? I'm just gonna put that on screen. Not even gonna try to read it. It contains 24,862,048 digits, and a search for the potential larger prime is ongoing. Robin Williams was a secret Santa to sick kids and thanked the staff with tears in his eyes. During World War I in Britain, the selling of fresh bread was banned, and all bread had to be sold stale so people would eat less of it. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed. Here's the outro. Goodbye now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this, please share it and leave a like. Both help me out a lot. And of course, an extra special thank you to my channel members who get exclusive access to the bloopers from this video, which is one of the clickable links on screen right now. I'll see you guys next time. Much love.